What's up, YouTube? Testarossa 101 coming back at you once again. Got a bunch of personal messages from new subscribers, and they may not have looked at all of the videos from way back when I started off with the 75 gallon, but there are still questions that need to be answered, and that is what this video is for. Okay, so we're going to go back to basics. The questions ranged from, how do you do it? What is the setup? How do you plumb a tank, etc. So I'm going to try and squeeze all of this into a short video. So let's go back to basics. First off, my tank is a 125 gallon, 6 foot long tank, and it's got 2 overflows. Okay? What overflows are is that when the water level rises, here we have an overflow. Sorry if you can't see it that good, but I'm going to try and squeeze all of this in. It goes into this chamber. It then gets sucked down below the tank. Okay? It goes down. And now we're into the sump area. That's an overflow. And it goes across to the other overflow because they're on both sides. They come down and they get dumped into my sump. Alright, so that's how the overflows work. The water rises up into that chamber, gets dumped down into the sump, which also leads to what type of plumbing do you use? This is mostly Schedule 40 PVC pipe, drinking water approved. That's all you need to know. It's drinking water approved. Now mine are 1-inch PVC for the drains, coming from both sides, and I've got it stretched across one side to the next with a T and an elbow that drops down into my sump. The transverse of that is that you have to have some sort of return, okay, to put water back into the tank. In my case, I've incorporated an external pump which takes water from the sump, sucks it up into the pump, goes up, goes back in to this one. And it's also drinking water approved. And I've got 2 returns. Okay? They're drinking water approved. The Schedule 40, I guess, is for the thickness of it. Those are 3/4, basically. And they come up into this, and I've got lock line with these 2 nozzles on each side. They return water into the pump. I'm sorry, into the tank. Therefore, your water drops down, goes through the sump, hits the pump, comes back around, and goes back up into the tank. So you got a loop. Now, when we're talking about circulation, my returns, of course, they're going to give me circulation in the pump because of the amount of water that's moved from the sump back up into the tank. And the amount of circulation that you should have, according to, most of the experts, is 10 times the amount. So I've got a 125 gallon tank. You should be pumping 1,250 gallons back in. So that pump is rated for 1,100, and I've got it throttled back a little bit because I don't like too much flow in the tank, but I want enough flow. Additionally, I've got circulation pumps inside the tank. These point toward the front on both sides. These point toward the middle. So I've got enough circulation going to where I don't get any dead matter growing in my rocks. And this sometimes takes a little time for you to figure out, because you got to figure out, am I lacking circulation in certain spots? Is it not going and flowing between the rocks, etc.? But from messing around with my setup, I found that this is the best configuration for me. I don't really have to worry about detritus settling or dead matter settling on the rocks, because I've got enough circulation throughout the tank. And with my live rock, I've got more than enough spots where water circulates over, around, through. There's plenty caves, plenty openings, so there's no real dead spots, as we call them. As far as filtration is concerned, okay, people start talking about, should I use a sump? Should I use a wet dry filter which has the bio balls, or a canister filter? Do I need a protein skimmer? Well, that's up to you. I prefer to use a sump with a protein skimmer. No bio balls, none. Bio balls are detritus traps to me, because there's not enough circulation down in that sump where you can get circulation around all of those little bio balls that you put in there. Some people prefer them, I just don't. My filtration basically deals with natural organics, and that is live rock. Now, when you go through the cycle, when you first put up your tank and you cycle your tank, the nitrification cycle, when you're trying to introduce this good bacteria into your tank, you're going to need dead matter. I used dead shrimp that I bought from the supermarket. I placed it in the tank. I did not run the protein skimmer. I placed it in the tank, let it rot. Let the the filters run, not the filters, I'm sorry, the circulation pumps run to keep the water circulating throughout the tank. And after a while, once that dead matter starts to decay, I started seeing an ammonia spike. After that ammonia spike, nature kicks in and it gives you nitrite. Nitrite comes in, eats the ammonia. Nature kicks in again. Once the nitrite levels reach a certain amount, nitrates begin to form. Once the nitrates form, they eat the nitrites. Once your tank is free of ammonia and nitrite, your tank is cycled. The end product being nitrates. You cannot get rid of nitrates without doing a water change. Yeah, there's products on the market that say, okay, yeah, throw this in your tank and it'll kill it. But trust me, a water change is the best way to go. Now, as I said, I prefer the sump with a protein skimmer, live rock, and algae. The problem with the canister filters is that they can become detritus traps as well. And just think about the maintenance. You got to change out the floss, you got to change out the charcoal, etc. Not only that, but they strip nutrients. They strip the good bacteria. All of that stuff is caught up in the filter media. And it's just, I prefer to go as natural as possible. Same thing with the bio balls. the maintenance on BioBalls, you got to take them out. You got to clean them up every now and then. Otherwise, they will become detritus traps. As I stated, mine, I got a sump, I got Live Rock, I got Chaeto Morpha in there. As you can see, I've got Live Rock in the sump. All that bacteria is living down there. And the Chaeto also helps to eat up nitrate. So it's less maintenance actually. But a word on putting algae in your sump, the way that I have mine. I've got Chaeto in there, but at some live fish stores you may get what's called grape caulerpa. It's little strands and they look like they got little grapes hanging off of them. Those things can go asexual. In other words, they can reproduce on their own. So if they get sucked into your return pump and get into your tank, these things can actually start growing in your tank. So just, a word of caution there. Protein skimmers. Protein skimmers, wonderful. Best invention I've ever known in aquariums. They bubble up. You get a pump. You run the pump through the protein skimmer. It bubbles up. Heavier particles will stick to bubbles. Those heavier particles get carried up into a collection cup. So all your fish pee and your fish poo will actually get caught in that protein skimmer. But protein skimmers also strip nutrients out of the water, but not as much as these other filters. So water change schedule should be, maintained. Things that get stripped out are calcium, alkalinity, magnesium, iodine, and those are essential for your corals and your fish. Fish have bones, they need to grow, so all of those things are essential. So I hope that with this video, and I know I'm running a little long, that you have a better understanding of how an aquarium actually runs. And oh yes, when you're growing algae, things of that sort, you're going to need a light. So check on the previous video to this one, where I have a low-cost solution for lighting your refugium. Other things that can be included, of course, are little reactors. This is a NPH reactor. 2 little fishies, 150. I run it on occasion. I don't run it 24/7. It's got these little NPH pellets in it. And that also helps to strip the nitrate, which is the end product of the nitrification cycle, which is what we all have to deal with. It also helps to strip those out of the water. I've got a little valve there on so that I can turn it on and off whenever I need to. I'll run it for like 2-3 days, then I'll shut it down because it puts too many nutrients into my tank. Another thing is a UV filter. This will help get rid of certain bacteria that grow unwanted algae. The unwanted algae you don't want in your tank, like the red slime algae, etc. So I know this was quick. I know it was a lot of information to absorb, but you asked for it, you got it. This is Testarossa 101. If you guys still having a problem trying to understand what the heck is going on, hit me up the same way you did. PM me and I'll get back to you. Alright? Testarossa 101 signing out.